Hi, everyone. I want to take a bit of a break from practical tips and talk a little bit about founder psychology. To start, let me rewind a little bit. The impetus of this masterclass actually came from a friend of mine, fellow tech services founder, who shortly after I handed the baton over at Kin Carta, asked if I'd come speak at their offsite. And when I asked what they wanted to hear about, they said they've kind of been stuck at this 100-person, $10 million in revenue level, had been there for a couple of years, and we're just struggling to break through. And they asked if I wouldn't mind putting together a talk on what I did on my journey to kind of break through that barrier and continue to scale a firm. And this masterclass is essentially a summation of that talk. Now, I know that 100-person glass ceiling very, very well. I lived there for a while. And if you look around, there are thousands of agencies and consultancies and tech services firms that hover around this 100-person, $10 million mark. And very few manage to break through this seemingly arbitrary barrier. Why? Why is it? What is it about this barrier? I'll tell you what I think it is. To grow a services firm to 100 people, it almost always has everything to do with the founder of the business. Building a $10 million business is no small feat. For the thousands of services firms that sit around this size, there are hundreds of thousands that never made it and probably never will. It's just the truth. To build a $10 million firm, you need a founder that understands the nuances of delivery and how to make customers successful in a repeatable fashion. The nuances of sales and how to differentiate your business from competitors that are 1,000 times your size. The nuances of operations and operating on a shoestring budget and making sure that every dollar is accounted for and used effectively. You got to be the total package. It really does take a unique individual to grow a firm to this scale. But once you get to that scale, and if you stop growing, it almost always is because of the founder. Now, I don't mean that in any sort of condescending way. It's because at 100 people, the job of the founder changes, and it changes significantly. This is the pivot point where a founder, if they are in everything, can become a constraint to the business. This is the time when the founder needs to start building that executive team, the team that's going to take them from 100 people to 1,000 people. And that means being able to identify great leaders, being able to pay them, or being willing, I should say, to pay them what they're worth, which means putting a lot of chips back on the table, which is hard because you finally start making some decent money, but putting those chips back on the table to pay that team, and most importantly, to begin letting go. At this tipping point, the founder has to move from leading to serving and empowering. I've always subscribed to the principles of servant leadership, which is the idea that being a great leader is not about being great at your job, but at making other people great at theirs. A lot of times I'll hear the pushback, I put these people in these positions, but they just can't do it as well as I can. And the answer is no, they can't, and they never will unless you give them the chance to learn. Not until you give them that space to grow. Not until you teach them everything you know and let them go. Now, this doesn't mean it's okay to send your ducks to Eagle School, but for high potential, high performers, it's the best investment you can make in time, in money, and in your own personal fulfillment. This series is going to provide strategies and tactics and frameworks and fundamentals and first principles. But to the founders out there listening, these are not for you. They are to give you the tools to be able to guide and grow your next generation of leaders, so you don't have to do it all yourself. That's how you break through. I'll see you next time. My name's Jay Schwan. I spent the last 20 years building a $500 million market cap tech services company. For my next chapter, I've created the Second Mountain. It's a firm focused on giving back to the tech services community by coaching and investing in early stage tech services founders. If you want my free masterclass sent directly to your inbox, just email subscribe@thesecondmountain.io. Let's go.